All right, everybody, and welcome. Joe White here. I just figure I have a few moments. I figure I would jump on here. Let me see if I can dim this light a little bit. That's awful. That's worse. Oh, that's so much better. Good. So I just wanted to jump on here, and I had a few things to share. And this is not necessarily driven by the climate of the country right now, but it's definitely amplified with the client, with how things are right now. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how to overcome negative forces. I mean, we all have them in our lives, whether they are friends or families or associates or competition, or maybe just the own stuff in our own heads. But I'm going to share with you really 3 key ingredients. How to overcome these negative forces, because they're crippling. And of course, it is probably one of the most divisive times in the world, but there's always negative forces. There's been negative forces, long before what we are dealing with right now, and there will continue to be negative forces. So the first one is we have to examine who we spend time with. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's our family, our friends, our coworkers, our social media friends, right? But there's a psychological principle that says who you spend time with is who you become. You will adopt the belief structure of those around you. Now, if you are a small fish in a big pond, in other words, if you're around people who are stretching and driving and pushing themselves, you're going to be blessed with it. But if you're around people who are swimming in negativity, or maybe their negativity is directed to you, I can tell you in all my years here, friends and family doesn't always take kindly to your growth, right? I mean, I know I've heard this. I'm sure you have. It's, why do you need to go to that seminar? Why do you gotta go to that course? Why you gotta read that book? Just because you did this, you think you're better than us, right? And I think sometimes it comes down to 2 things. Number one, there's some type of people out there that they feel better by tearing you down because, hey, look how good I am, right? 2 ways to have the tallest building in town. You could build it or tear the other ones down. And some people just love tearing down the tallest buildings because it says, hey, that person's not all that. Or this is more in family, not every family, but some families, that the thought is they don't want to lose you and they think you're going to be drifting away. So they'll find ways to drag you down to, you don't need to do all that stuff. I remember when I came back from my first seminar, my personal development seminar, and my mom, I was telling her about this. I was telling her how I firewalked and I did this and I was yelling, I was screaming. I signed up for $10,000 worth of more programs. I remember my mom reached across the table, grabbed my hands, looked at me in the eyes and said, Joe, you can tell us the truth. This is a cult, isn't it? God bless my mom's soul. She eventually came around and understood not only the path I was on, but the path that eventually became my life's work. So we need to find a tribe of people. Love your family, choose your friends, right? I'm not saying excommunicate your family, but we need a tribe of people. And that's one of the reasons why I started Get Life Coaching, because I didn't have it, right? And the internet wasn't sophisticated back then. We didn't have social media like we did back then. We just had that guy who friended everybody on MySpace. Remember that? And so I figured the best thing I could do is to create a tribe of people like-minded like me. And with Get Life Coaching, a cool thing is if you have ever come to an event, you're able to come back and volunteer for that event. We call it Soul Team. Not to give a commercial for Soul Team, but if you came to Breaking Through the Barrier, you can come back and volunteer. You can be part of the fire team. You've done Design Your Life, you can come back there. And it's a great opportunity to get plugged in because we recently, last year, opened up a program called All In, and it's exactly what it says. It's every single program for a year at a ridiculous price. And what I've noticed was the people who are in All In have these massive growth because they come to the events with other people and they see them and they grow kind of like, remember that in the gym, they had that pegboard where you had to climb the wall, put one peg in, then another peg. That's what it comes to. That's the power of tribe. So whether you create it, you pay for it, you come to Soul Team, you do All In, you create an online community, it doesn't matter. We need a tribe of people who are pushing us, challenging us, giving us the truth when we need to hear it, even if we don't want, but from a place from our heart, not a place that tears us down. The second thing is understand logic fails, right? Have you ever had a conversation with somebody, significant other, ex, family member, friend, and you try to logically tell them what your thought process is? There's this fine line from being descriptive, describing what you believe, what you want, to going into that convincer mode. And convincer mode is where we're justifying, defending. I don't know if you've ever been there, but like it is one of the single worst feelings I can experience when I feel like I'm defending myself, right? I'm justifying why I believe what I believe. No one needs to justify or defend what they believe. They can explain. That's one side of the fence. But then it goes into that scarcity where I need you to understand. And the more logic I say, the more irrational the conversation goes. You should never beg for approval. You should never beg for support. If you need to beg those people that you love, that those people who you think are your friends, who support you, you have to beg for it, then maybe you need to choose a new set of friends, right? Because the truest people out there understand you. They understand your humanity. They understand your imperfections. They understand your screw-ups. And they don't see them as opportunities to capitalize, to hurt, to gain significance over you. They see that as an opportunity to pick you up, to hug you. I think sometimes we all need a foot up our ass and sometimes we need a hug. There's a great quote that says, we deserve love. We deserve love. No. It'll come to me. I wasn't planning on saying this. We need love the most when we deserve it the least. We need love most when we deserve it the least. And that's what that tribe is, that unconditional love. They understand that there are moments that we all fall short. There's moments that we struggle. I've seen people sometimes at the events show like their ugliest side. Not because they're bad people, because something hit a nerve, right? They're hitting a breakthrough. They're hitting a point, a pivot point in their lives. And to have a group of people that just loves them back is one of the most amazing things. So never beg, never ask for someone's support, beyond that initial request. Right? It's okay to ask, but I think when we beg for it, when we seek it out over and over and over again, I even see with my daughter, sometimes she does something, she goes, did I do good, Daddy? Did I do good, Daddy? Did I do good, Daddy? And I want to encourage her, but I don't want her to beg for Dad's approval. And number 3, don't believe you. What does that mean? Because sometimes the greatest negativity isn't what's external, it's what's internal. It's the force within inside of you. It's the doubts, it's the fears, it's the hesitation. It's us evaluating our presence and our future based upon our past or our perception of our worth. And I think some of the cruelest things that's ever said to us is spoken in our own voice. Each of us, regardless of where you are on your journey, is a journey of truth. We have to discover what our truth is. And I think that's an evolutionary process. At different stages of our lives, different chapters, it's going to change, it's going to evolve. But it is finding the peace within your own truth. And then we must live our truth, right? And I know it's a very definitive line. It's very binary that there is the finding of your truth and living of the truth, and then compromising a compromised life, which is a lie. Because it's easier. It's easier to settle. It's easier just to go along with the status quo. It's easier to accept what has been given to you or what you obtained and think it's good enough. And whether it's relationship or finances or family or whatever you want in life, there is truly an unspoken promise that we create when we first come into this world. And it's a trade. We get the gift of life and we promise to do everything we can with that gift of life. And somewhere through the process of maturation, we start reneging on our end. We throw it away. We are callous with it. We're juvenile with it. We take it for granted. And next thing you know, that promise has been broken. And it's all about reestablishing, reconnecting, and redetermining the root of that promise. Because to kind of quote one of my favorite movies, Dead Poets Society, as Robin Williams, miss him, said, at some point, lads, we're all worm food, right? We all die. And we might not want to think about it because of the unpleasantry, but we're going to pass on. We'll get older. Our body starts to break down. We'll get more disease. We'll lose cognitive processing. So we have a window of opportunity of our lives. And we have a choice within that window. What do? Do we live in fear? Or do we live in hesitation? Do we live in doubt? Do we live in uncertainty? Do we live in scarcity? Or do we decide to rise above it and find that truth above the negativity that exists inside of our head, above the negativity that exists outside of us, and find our worth, find our value? You know, there have been so many books written about the quest, and everything from Joseph Campbell's A Hero's Journey to Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist, to Hermann Hesse, Siddhartha. I remember reading that for the first time in high school. Life is a journey, and it's a process, and doesn't relinquish our responsibility to it, and it doesn't mean we just sit back and allow life to come to us. We must go forth into it. But we have to go in with open eyes and open hearts, because we only get one lap around this track. And being bogged down with things that don't serve us, things that are negative, things that keeps us in this trap of relief where it's not that bad. I'm better than I was. Sure, I can be better, but who really is? I'm better than that person over there. And finding that false security and negativity, because there's a familiarity with it, right? If there's little expectations on you, there's little disappointment in you and from you when and if you fall short. So the battle of negativity begins with that mindset inside of you. how do you choose to live, right? Do you really go out there to find your truth, to discover that truth, and then live your truth? And that's a big question. It's a big responsibility. It's a big task, but it's an integral part of that promise that we all made when we were first given this gift of life. So I'd like to thank you for joining me. If I can ever do anything for you, you can always reach me at getlifecoaching.com. Check us out there. If you're ever interested in sitting down and doing a complimentary coaching session, just go to calljoewhite.com. I'll put them in the comment section. But I appreciate this. If this video has some impact on you, I invite you to share it out to your tribe or maybe someone who's looking for a little peace in their lives. Until next time, everybody, this is Joe White. Rattle the cage. Have a great day. Bye-bye.